because you can be angsty and manly. You have to, you don't even necessarily have to get over your angst, you know. You just have to not be defined by it, you know. Shinji, yeah, that's fair.
To be fair, Shinji's pretty badass in the Super Robot Wars.
Anybody in Code Geass? Code
To be
Geass.
fair, they were just talking about Clem.
Code Geass is 20 minutes of awesome packed into 52 episodes.
Throw it down the content.
So, Will, would you agree that probably one of the, not just the first, but probably one of the manliest mecha series is probably Gundam?
I suppose. Yes.
What Gundam would you say is probably the manliest one?
G-Man, obviously, but that's not what the next slide's going to be.
Oh, of course not.
But Terminator Gundam is
It's another one of those series where I know it came out, I'm pretty sure it's out of print. If anybody knows if it's not, please tell me so I can buy all the lists. You're more of the expert on the show than I am, so I need to give them a quick rundown.
like, the show is, what's the, the Prince and the Pauper. There's a big element of Prince and the Pauper in it where a noble and a normal person wind up switching places. They are main characters, and the differing views they get. They are on different sides of a conflict. They get switched, and no one else knows. And through all this, you've got a war going on between Earth and the Moon. It's Tomino, what do you expect?
And this is the one with Black History, right?
Yeah, this is the one where there's a whole lot of, hey, this is technically set in the future of the Gundam series, but we're not going to tell you until the very end.
Yeah. And Black History is the worst thing that happened to a Gundam series since Gundam Seed Destiny.
Since what?
I know, right?
Does that feel that name?
I feel like I said something that doesn't exist.
Okay, that's static representation for a second.
But another thing, we got giant robots, we got dancing girls, we got, people having kung fu fights. Another series or another genre that you tend to see a lot of, this manliness kind of come out, even though this genre never really comes out in America, is the sports genre. Hajime no Ippo is about 1,000 chapters of the same premise, which is the guy punches another guy.
There's also, this is one of the big exemplars that we should have used for the underdog. No one expects Ippo's going to win. He's just this guy, He's just got a real strong punch. Who cares about having a real strong punch? Oh shit, the Dempsey roll. There are a lot of proper nouns involved, which is another big thing of shows like this, but
basically the entire premise of Hajime no Ippo is that Ippo is an okay boxer who fights a bunch of people and wins.
because he has training, he has his bonds, and he has determination.
It's not like this, groundbreaking series, but it's been going on since the 1980s for a reason. They adapted some of it. I think the first anime was released here as Fighting Spirit. I don't know if the second series ever came out. But the anime kind of compresses a lot of the storylines and just shows you the really awesome parts. So if you get that would be my recommendation. But another sports anime...
Well, this isn't so much an anime. We're going to be delving less into anime from here on and more into manga and other sorts of shows. Another sports thing. Aisha 21. It's rare that you see American football in any context outside of America. But then you get this manga by the incomparable Yusuke Murata. We're getting there.
But the premise is that the Devil Bats are this terrible football team.
In more ways than one.
They're all like jerks and, you know,
All jerks, delinquents, and all around horrible people.
I believe the quarterback pulled a gun on somebody at one point in the series. Not even like just randomly, he pulled him on the field. I don't want to know where he was starting. But the premise is that one of the guys, the guy in the, eye shielded helmet,
The titular Eye Shield 21
is a really good runner because he's basically been everybody's gopher bitch for his life. So he's basically been like, he would be sitting down there and somebody would say, here, get me some melon bread or I'll punch you. And he dashes off and gets the melon bread and comes back. And so he learned how to
He learned how to reason, he learned how to run, he learned how to spot openings.
and so they grab him and they force him to be the running back of the team, right? I think he's a wide receiver too. And we get to see kind of the evolution of the team. And it actually has a lot more story than necessarily just a football. We see the personal conflicts and the evolution of the team. And
Sometimes all it takes is one good seed to turn all these bad people around.
And I believe at the end of the series, they get recruited to play football in America, which is pretty cool.
But while we're on the subject of these Rod, you should all be reading One Punch Man. Spoilers, he's anything but an average guy.
So the premise of One Punch Man is this guy is so strong that he ends every fight with one punch.
Literally. So this is one of those things where it kind of breaks the mold a little. You know he's always going to win. He ends every fight in one punch. So it's all a matter of how it comes to that. And the anticipation of that keeps you going surprisingly well.
It's also really funny. It's probably one of the funnier comics I've read recently.
No one believes that he got this strength just by doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and running 100 kilometers a day. It's also how he lost his hair.
Yes.
And he's very sensitive about it.
So the show has kind of that tiger and bunny element where so in a world of semi-superheroes where they're all licensed, and if you haven't seen Tiger and Bunny, this analogy doesn't make sense, we should go watch Tiger and Bunny.
But it also begins to come off as a sort of buddy cop show because One Punch Man himself winds up with, I can't really call him a sidekick or a pupil. He's more of a hanger-on than anything else. But this cyborg demands to be his pupil. Because, geez, one punch? Really? I want what he's having.
It's also really awesomely drawn. Like, you ever read a manga and look at it and you're like, this is just all the keyframes for something that could become an anime? That's One Punch Man to the nth degree. People have actually taken the panels and put them into animated GIFs.
And they flow into one another.
It works perfectly.
And Yusuke Murata does all of this by hand with pen.
Yes. No, I don't think it's been licensed yet, but somebody should get on that because they make a ton of money from this.
Well, to be fair, it is pretty much a webcomic, so
Okay, that's fair.
it's a bi-weekly webcomic.
But I don't think we can talk about Manime without talking about the perennial Manime show. Probably not the first one, but certainly the one that solidified a lot of these tropes.
And it's really only not well known here in the States. If you go anywhere else in the world, they will know this show. I mean, you all know it because you're all nerds. But in the States, this would never fly. There is too much blood and gore and fighting and punching.
And head explosions, don't forget. Head explosions.
True. But everywhere else in the world, this aired on TV. Like Saturday morning level TV. This is a kid's show. Let that sink in for a second.
But the basic premise of the show is that in 1990X?
1990X.
1990X. I was confusing it with 99 for a second. The apocalypse happens. Nuclear war, everything's destroyed.
Or is it?
And then a few years later, the show picks up, and we follow the adventures of Kenshiro, who is a practitioner of a martial art known as
The Fist of the North Star.
Hokuto Shinken. I almost said Hokuto no Ken, which isn't the right name. And he goes around righting wrongs and, being full of justice and not really talking a lot for various reasons.
I've struck one of your money's secret pressure points. You are already dead.
But this show really, especially the anime, really took this idea of, let's go over the top and to see how crazy we can go. And it was really the first show to take it all the way.
To be fair, in an interview, the writer and artist for the manga, Bronson, he straight up admitted in an interview that he just wrote this week to week.